All right, boys, it is back. Look at them. I had too much pride. I couldn't give them away or sell them, destroy them. They are in my standard tabs for life. So much pain at the Recombinator. So many tears. So much joy. So damn good. This league is the best. All right, I wanted to talk about this league in the way that I remember it. I'm sure it won't be exact. It was a one-time league. Memories are fleeting, but I've gone back over some of my old lives and some of my old videos and just kind of dug into my memory and tried to remember exactly how this league went to get us a bit of a soft plan for how to progress through this league and make it an enjoyable league. I know a lot of people had a rough time with this league due to not being able to get idols. I will say this league is much better if you can start on days 1 and 2 and get your idols snowballing. At least one set of some kind to get yourself going because the league really sucks if you fall behind in idols. Although it's not the end of the world, I did kind of coach some people how to come back from having nothing with the strongbox idols to having a massive amount of wealth. It seemed like every day 3 different people would message me saying they duped Amir, even though I never did. I got a little jealous, but you know, I'm happy for them, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. It's awesome, and it seemed like everyone was having such a good time with the strongbox strategy that I was doing in Phrecia. If you don't know who I am or you weren't here for Phrecia, this is one of the funnest leagues that Path of Exile Path of Exile has ever come out with, and the strongbox farm is probably my favorite farm I've ever done. Maybe second favorite. I think Nemesis 3 might take the cake on my favorite farm. But you know, a lot of people haven't weren't around for that long, so they might not even know what I'm talking about. But this is number 2 for sure. I wanted to talk about all the strategies that I'm going to be using and just my general progression. Sorry about the blurry footage. I've fixed things since then. OBS, I would fix it and then it would reset itself every time I reset my computer, and so but I think I got it sorted out now. But yeah, this background footage is going to be a little bit blurry. Sorry. All right, real quick before we get into it, I was previously Jay. I have changed my name to Giant, Joe. Some people call me Jay in real life. Most people do. Some other people call me Joe, and you know, AOE. All right, that's fun. Anyways, I'm also going to be streaming on Twitch from here on out because I just keep running into issues. I want to listen to music while I play, and just generally listen to like anything other than myself talk while playing, and I get all kinds of issues streaming on YouTube. So we're going to be moving it to Twitch moving forward. That's the link for it. But I'm going in here because I have a ton of streams. This video is just going to be a really basic overview of what my plan is like on the early days of the league. But I have tons and tons of content around Phrecia. It's probably the league that I made the most content for. I started out with Wretched Defilers on Scion and moved throughout like 3 or 4 different builds. Um, and then all the strongbox stuff here towards the end. And then over in my video section, I have an endgame version of a couple of farms that I created. This best Phrecia farm is no good. This is around Wisp Titanic Exiles. This ended up being beaten for one with better idols, and then also I don't think Titanic Exiles are going to be as good as they were previously. They'll still be good, but they're not going to be like nearly as cracked as they were. I think the strong boxes will likely be the best. However, they will not be starting out. But for new and veteran players here, Gigabig Strats, this is going to be the endgame version of the negative rarity strat that I came up with to farm shit tons of blue idols and Titanic Exiles. If this still works, I'm not entirely sure, or at least to the same degree that it worked. The biggest thing with it is you had to balance your rarity around how much rarity the monsters are getting, and so it's going to change with the changes to the Titanic Scarabs, this league and stuff. I'll have to play around with it. But anyways, the Strongbox one, this is the big one. In this video, I shared some results, but I perfected it as I went further with it, and I ended up getting this up to like, I don't know, it was like 100 divine an hour strategy before any lucky drops. Like if you include the lucky drops, it was like fucking 200 divine, maybe 300 divines an hour. It was absolutely cracked. But we need to talk about how we get there. So we're just going to go through this list real quick, and I'll kind of give my opinions on the league, and you know, as best as I can as far as I remember it. For one, I think you should play Scion. The reason why is you can make literally any build work on this Ascendancy. It is so unbelievably versatile, and it's also the most fun if you enjoy like making builds. I league started my Wretched Defilers doing Titanic Exiles. Well, eventually got to Titanic Exiles on like day 2 or maybe 3. I can't remember. But we league start with with Wretched Defilers. We move from the Wretched Defilers into Penance Brand of Dissipation. It performs pretty well, although it was kind of expensive to get into this. But this is a currency spitting out league. You'll have plenty of currency to build whatever you want. After Penance Brand of Dissipation, I transitioned into a negative rarity Blade Vortex setup for Titanic Exiles. And again, this is all on Scion. Looks like we didn't roll any Exiles there, but yeah, it was very strong for even Blade Vortex against Titanic Exiles at what are we at? 134% pack size. This is double Wisp, not Legends though. They would have struggled a little bit more on Legends. But yeah, plenty of damage. From there, I went into a screen wide clearing AOE Righteous Fire, just like the strongbox opener 10,000 I called it. Absolute blast to play. Again, we're still on the Scion here. And then later I make the strongbox opener 100,000, which was clearing like 5 or 10 seconds faster. That's how obsessed with this league I was. I was like trying to shave seconds off of these maps, but it was just because it was so damn fun, like just making more builds. So, anyways, I end on the Spark Explodey, uh, whatever the fuck I made here. Again, all on the Scion. The Scion can do literally anything. If I wanted to make a melee build, I could have. I mean, it's just like it can do anything. As long as they don't change the passive tree, hopefully they don't. But as it was last league, it had an option to do literally anything you wanted. The tree is so unbelievably versatile. So if you're having a hard time picking a league starter, I really recommend Scion and just adapt it to whatever build that you are looking at wanting to play, and it will do it very well. If you're interested in any of these builds, this isn't a video to go over a bunch of builds or anything, but all the POBs for any of those builds that I just showed are within one of these live streams, depending on which ones you're looking for. But yeah, Scion is my recommendation. All right, once you have your league star out of the way, let's get into how the league went last league. So starting out in tier one maps, the map sustain is horrible. It was very hard to progress through the map system. Ideally, to solve this, you're just going to want to throw in any amount of idols that you can. If we have a look at all of these idols, you can see that the implicit on them is increased maps found in area. There's other things that are going to help you out, like the I guess that would be a prefix of increased explicit effective modifiers. There's also one that does it goes up to 5% for each quality that you have on the map. Both of those would be pretty good early on if you just happen to find one. Um, Mediums have increased effective explicit modifiers as well. But even if you can't find any of that, just throwing in any idle to get that implicit increased maps and found in area to help your early progression is going to be big. A lot of your idle slots are going to be locked, so you're going to be somewhat limited, but um, don't feel bad. We're all going to struggle on maps, most likely. Aside from that, since we have crappy idols, we essentially don't have an Atlas tree or a very underwhelming one early on due to our idol set, so the currency is going to be pretty rough. Ideally, what I'm going to be looking to do here is not looking for anything, since the market isn't going to really be, there's not going to be a market for idols yet. You're going to have to kind of just go off what you find. So you can always start with Heist. Heist isn't going to require any idols. It may be the best way to start, since you can just start getting, your early 5, 10, 20 divines or whatever to get your build up and running and going. Then Heist might be the move. But once we're done with Heist, if you decide to go that route, I'm going to be looking for literally like anything that I so happen to find uh, a combination of, right? Like let's say I find one here and one there, and it's like whatever, but then I find like 3 expedition or 3 legion or whatever. Then I'm probably going to start going down that route for my early currency, just because it'll be the cheapest thing for me to get into. And I think realistically, just about anything this league is profitable so long as you have a decent combination of idols for that mechanic. And ideally, I'm going to be looking for anything that Flubgum is not doing. Last league, um, or Phrecia, not last league. I didn't really watch him. I knew he did strong boxes. I was lucky enough to get into strong boxes before he did, so I was able to snipe the idols for pretty good prices. But I saw once he got into them that the idols just went like ballistic, and it's not even profitable to grab them. So I'm probably going to be dodging strong boxes early on until Flubgun is done with them. Um, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to pay the absorbent prices for the idols, but also because the strong boxes aren't going to be as good early league as they will be late league. I'll get into that in a little bit as to why. But yeah, to keep things simple, just literally any combination of a mechanic that you can get together that you just so happen to find, just run that, and it'll be better than like sitting there throwing in a bunch of random idols. and just praying that something drops. Just find anything, whether it be Blight or Legion, any of the money makers, right? Day two, we're going to start having a little bit more currency under our belt, and our build's going to be getting put together, and we're going to start putting together an actual set. Now, I think the best set for day two is going to be a Scarab set. The reason why strongboxes became so profitable, I mean, they would have been profitable if scarabs were expensive anyways, but they were so profitable because scarabs were dirt cheap. The discernment was down to 6 chaos each. The ambush was like zero point 0.5 or 1. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I just know that they were each map that I opened was like by the end of the league it was like 15 chaos. It was almost nothing, and I was getting 2, 3, 4 divines back from each map. But the only reason that they were that cheap is because people were running the scarab idols earlier in the league, and these were insane currency when there's no scarabs on the market. Later on, it won't be good anymore because it'll become too flooded with scarabs. But in the beginning, holy shit, money. I didn't do the scarab farm, so unfortunately, I have to steal some footage from somebody else's video. I apologize, but as you can see, he's just running through a normal map and just absolutely dumping scarabs out. Right, this is going to be disgusting in the beginning. Ideally, we're going to be looking for something like this. I didn't do the scarab strat; I only saw it, and I'm having to go back and sort of take other people's content to give you the ideas. I don't really like to do that without giving credit, but I don't really know who came up with this, to be honest. But either way, this is what we're going to be looking for roughly. I'll put this in the details of the stream. This is likely going to be the Scarab set that I work towards. The only exception to this is if Fubgun happens to go into Scarabs first, then I probably won't do this. I'll probably just go heavy into strong boxes. It's all going to depend on what creators are doing what. If the big creators are doing this, then I'm probably going to avoid that because the idols are going to go up 5, 10x in price, right? I mean, I might even do expedition if like there's a big creator doing this and a big creator doing strong boxes and nobody's doing expedition, then I'll just go into expedition, right? You got to be fluid in this league a little bit, I think. Every strategy has the potential to be massively rewarding. It doesn't really matter, but this is what I would like to do. This is the plan as of right now. All right, now day 3 we're going to have probably a mediocre set put together, depending on how everything goes. And we'll start working on, improving it a little bit. I'll tell you about recombinating here in just a little bit. But day 3, I'm pretty much just going to use the set and just farm as much currency as I can to get my build up and running at a high level, as well as getting ready to craft the GG Strongbox set, which is going to be pretty costly. So I'm going to need probably a whole day or, day 2 and 3 to farm pretty heavily for both the build and um, like a 60 percentile strongbox set, I would say. And then from there on out, I'm just going to continue to work on this. I'm just going to keep improving the strongbox set over and over and slamming the recoms together until I create my, 200 div an hour, 150 div an hour, whatever it ended up being last league and or this league as well. As well as putting the Scarab set and the details of this video, I will also put my strongbox set. I think I have a pretty detailed outline in one of my previous videos. So I'll throw that in the details as well if you want to get an idea for what you want to be looking for with that. And, oh, I forgot, turned gold into Conqueror's Idols for massive profit. I probably made, I couldn't even tell you, 3, 4, 5 mirrors off of Conqueror Idols last league. I have it down to a science, although I don't really want to share it publicly on a YouTube video. If you want to tune into the stream and see me do it, that's great, but it's a bit of a dirty trick. But what I will say about it is be careful selling your idols on the immediate exchange. I'm forgetting the name of it. Um, you know what I'm talking about, though, the merchant tab. I don't know why the name is slipping my head, but the instant exchange. Be careful doing that. There are so many different idols and so many different combination of idols, and you never know like when something is getting big or not. There's just too many people doing too many different things, and at any point you could just be throwing away tons and tons of currency if you're just throwing something in for like a divine or two. So um, just be careful. The simple version of what I'm doing is I'm placing them in my stash, and if I get flooded with pings, then I know I've misplaced something incorrectly, right? And it's worth far more than I've listed it. And so then at that point, I would look it up and then sell it for the appropriate price, so I'm not losing out on hundreds of divines. But if you don't know about it when you first start, your city King's March is going to be underdeveloped. Make sure you talk to Faustus, and he's going to have an upgrade option to where you can upgrade to start buying the higher end idols. I think the Conquerors is the last one. It costs a lot of gold, but it is well worth every piece of gold. You can make so much currency off of just gambling these idols, like an absurd amount. Uh, you can only see it in the small text because this is old league stuff. Price one divine, one divine, three. These are just the ones that didn't sell. These were going up to 20, 30 divine a piece for the right ones towards the end, especially the magic ones. Magic ones are significantly more valuable than rare ones due to the way that these recombinate together. I'll likely try to do the negative rarity farm again on these so that I can just like print shit loads of them, but it'll depend on how the Titanic Exiles farm is and whether it'll be worth it or not. But the point of all this is these are massive money and all of your gold should go into them. That's really the short and sweet of it, right? Make sure you're gambling for the idols during Phrecia. Now getting a set of four perfect affixes on these is like it's rough, man. It costs a lot. You burn through so many idols. I'm not going to go into all that right now, but I'll show you how to make a very easy three affix one, because that's really all you need, to be honest. Going to this adds like it adds a lot. Okay, it's really good to make the four affixes, but you're going to have to play the league a lot and make a lot of currency. I think these are multiple meters each. Um, yeah, they're rough to make, but the three by ones are very, or I'm sorry, the three affix ones are very easy. But if you are curious about this, again, just tune into the stream when I get to that stage. It'll probably be, I don't know, a week or two in before I start trying for some of these. But there's too much to go into with them on this video. So, yeah, they're a headache. So the way we make these is really simple. You basically just take single affix blue ones. And the reason you want that is because when the recom works out, it will only take the mods that you want, right? Pretty straightforward. If you have a bunch of other stuff on here, then what's going to happen is it'll succeed, but uh, it'll start getting really sloppy, and you'll start getting a bunch of extra mods that you want, and there's different weightings that are involved, and some will start eating others. And it's just very annoying. So the blue idols are the best, especially single affix ones, and that's why they're so much more expensive and also so much more valuable. But you just get two on, and then you just keep slamming together, and eventually you have your three affix one. Very simple, very straightforward. I'll link this entire section that I'm showing here in the details as well on how to recon. This is like 5 minutes or something of me crafting one of these, but they're all basically the same. This is how I craft all of them, and yeah, I think I made 24 divine. Spent or put that up for 24 divine. I think I spent like 5 divine or 10 divine on it. Right, idle crafting is very profitable this league if you're into that sort of thing. I personally just craft them for myself, but especially with the insta buy trading, you'll be able to snipe so many of these, and you can just sit in your hideout and make an ungodly amount this league. But that's not really my thing. I just like the map. But yeah, but yeah, the simple version of it is just slam single mod idols together, and eventually you'll hit. If you want to do the four affix ones, then you basically create a three affix one and then create a two affix one, with the two affix one having the opposing fourth affix of your first one. Sort of confusing to word all that out, but basically you're trying to combine a 3x2 was the best way I found to do it, and eventually it'll take the fourth mod, and you'll make a four affix one. But you burn through so many idols doing it; it's painful for sure. So yeah, just be careful with that. You can lose a lot of currency, multiple mirrors on some of the higher end idols trying to do that. It looks like I finished up another one here. I'm just doing it for a demonstration, but they end up working out. So I make a quick, 50 divine off of 10 divine or whatever. Just putting together some basic sets. So yeah, idle crafting very good. Don't ever buy these, in my opinion. Only make them for yourself. It's significantly cheaper. But I think that's really all I got for like a starter plan. As always, give it a like if you got anything useful out of it. Would be appreciated. And I might make some more videos pre-league, honing in on maybe the build that I'm going to play, or going a little deeper into some strategies if people seem to want that. But that's like my generic overview for my plans with Phrecia. I can't wait for it. I'm like beyond excited. I was like praying they'd put out a private league so I could play it again, but this is even better. So hope to see you all there. If you don't hear from me by then come check out the live stream, and yeah, man, hope you guys have a good league.